Mm, mm, mm. Got that guitar in your hand, know what you're doing?
Ah, sinners. May the haters strike me down, because believe me, there hasn't been any praise that has been given to this movie. But damn it, I will try. And I know for a fact that I'm not special in this case, considering the whole point of this series, one fantastic scene by the way, go check out the other videos, is that I know you guys know how good these movies are. I'm just here to talk about specific scenes that I just can't stop replaying inside my head. In this case, the rich and colorful tapestries of black culture, which tragically, a lot of them came from immense suffering. And this very specific slice of culture that I'll be choosing is, of course, the blues. Looking at this really great deep dive by Ryan Coogler and Ludwig Göransson, it was no surprise that the underlying theme and the whole scope of the story really can be inherently found in the blues.
I think what I associated blues with was sadness, slow, dreary. I came up listening to, 90s hip hop. That was almost, and not understanding that's basically the same concept. Yeah. Everything that those guys talk about, the crossroads, life after death, seeing death around the corner. I'm at a period in my life, artistically, where I'm constantly interrogating my own personal heritage, and I was able to do that with Fruitvale on the surface, because it's about where I was from. And with Creed, I was doing it a little bit with my father's relationship with the Rocky franchise, and with the Panther films, I got to go to the continent, which is like my ancestral heritage. But I had skipped over the American South. Yeah. You know what I mean? I skipped over that place where I'm also from.
Mm-hmm. With the intro in mind and Remick being obsessed with Preacher Boy, of course, I just really, really love the angle they went with the story. Incredibly unique, and not to mention the incredible soundtrack and just outright brilliant musical performances. Performed, of course, notably by Miles Caton, in his debut role, by the way, which is nuts. And it's crazy that out of these all great musical performances, and ditties that pesters throughout the whole movie, one scene really stood out for me. One scene that really highlights what the blues is. I had a period where I extensively listened to jazz jazz fusions to be exact. And of course, like many others, it was because of my dad, George Duke, George Benson, Lee Ritenour, Bob James, Snarky Puppy, Cassiopeia, and a whole heap of others. And the underlying lowest common denominator throughout all of the music that I've been listening to in all kinds of jazz fusions music is that R&B, rhythm and blues, baby. Tying it back to Sinners, I did a bit of reading on the musical evolution and the journey they've taken. And all it leads me back towards is just the good old soul, blues, and just, in some cases, gospel music. And yet, even still, you don't have to dig that much deeper to find the red line that connects and ties everything up together. What connects all of these widely consumed music? It just came from immense misery. Field hollers and work songs, for example. Those are the originator of blues. Music which only comes as a form of response so raw and unfiltered that was derived from their sufferings. These type of singings, especially when they don't even know what music they're even singing at the time, act as some sort of instinctual response that comes as easy as it would for a person to cry out in pain, treating it as if it was some part of their sentence as well, so time just can't pass by that just a little bit faster until they aren't under the beating sun and they're left alone in their hovels. And this scene with Delta Slim captures that pain perfectly. His introduction is the perfect encapsulation of what type of character he is. He started with a bottle and died with a bottle. These two features that is integral to the core of Delta Slim's character was played off for gags and goofs in the beginning to bring this sense of sincerity to someone who knows he's on his way out and uses anything that he can get his hands on to waste it all away with moonshine, corn whiskey, or just about anything that will inebriate him enough so that he is not sober enough to remember. And I would just rather take the leap and believe that audiences would not play dumb and reason out why exactly Delta Slim is like this, why he drinks until he forgets. Means of escapism comes at a price in any point of history, and within the harsh constraints of the Jim Crow era, there is just a little reason why Delta Slim is the way he is. And so, here comes this one fantastic scene. Delroy Lindo. The more I read about him and the amount of respect he showed to the script and just portraying this really complex character is just ooh! Chef's kiss. Saying that though, thank God there were subtitles in my theater, because without it I wouldn't even understand a lick. I'm sorry.
Now you wasn't his cousin and a young pup to boot, I'd cut your ass too thin to fry.
The American dream, right? That, and I am sure hundreds of other countless stories from Slim's youth have completely desensitized him from the injustices of the simple livings of a black man in that era, especially working as musicians, getting enough money to just get by. And if you're really, really lucky, you could spend it to build up your own congregations and build up a church, like what Delta Slim's friend wanted to do. Preset prejudice of that era had completely dulled his sense of self, dulling himself into a husk of a man that works to drink and drinks to forget. But at that exact moment, something else shone through. Delta Slim hearing the familiar heavenly voices and the all too familiar jinglings of cuffs and the rhythmic thuds of pickaxes as they passed by familiar faces in chain gangs. At that moment, he was no longer the drunk adult old man telling his former bandmates to keep their heads high and to just keep singing. Then comes Delta Slim's story, his reason to drink.
Up for sure they're gonna kill us that night. You get us our instruments back, they tell us to play. They take us to this big house. I mean, it's full of white folks. See, white folks say they like the blues just fine. They just don't like the people who make it.
What'd y'all do with the money?
I drank it. Rice said he was gonna take that money, going out to Little Rock, start him a little church.
Did he?
The damn fool. He took out all his money to pay for the $2 train ticket. Clan got a hold to him, searched his pockets, found all that money, and they lynched him right there in the railroad station. You know they cut off his manhood.
The first time since we met him that he showed any amount of interest and passion to anything that isn't about the blues or alcohol. And we felt every inch of his pain. The man who came out of his broken shell and held nothing back, bringing himself to the verge of tears. That alone would be enough on its own to be a great scene, but what really elevates the scene was that specific moment when he realized that he had talked too much. He had recalled too long, and he realized at that moment it was just all too much for him to bear. And so what did he do?
Got that guitar in your hand, don't you, boy?
He just goes right back to the blues. A cathartic release that left me in shivers. A reaction that, if without any context, both narratively and historically, it would just be seen as out of place. It was just all too much to bear. In a cry of sheer empathy. When I've been looking up clips and research for this video, I happened to come across this just such a good look on Delroy Lindo, especially on this scene.
What was it like showcasing really the core of what blues is?
I got to give credit first and foremost to Ryan because that's what he wrote. He gave me and us, the three of us in the car, the space to work the scene. And the musical piece was an improv. It was not written. The first cut that we saw in Los Angeles, they had cut that monologue out. And I went to Ryan, I said, man, you can't cut it out, man. And here's why. These are the reasons why this monologue has to be in this film. And he heard me. And he agreed with me. And so it's back in. So for you to say to me, this is what this meant to me, and these were the dots that were connected, it's everything, man. It's everything.
Improvise? That was improvise? And Michael B. Jordan just went along with it? Are you serious? What the? How? Oh God, guys, just... So yeah, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Please, I never ask much, so if you could do, just leave a like and subscribe. It would really help. I would really love to continue making these. So please, leave any more scenes from your favorite movies, series, just any forms of media really, where I could do a quick deep dive like this. So yeah, write it down in the comments, give out your thoughts, and thank you for watching.